I'm never gonna use an offset smoker again, and these Dino ribs are the reason why. These are beef plate ribs, widely considered the king of barbecue. Most people will tell you they belong on an offset smoker, but today I'm breaking all the rules by cooking them on a $100 Weber Kettle using nothing more than the snake method. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether this humble charcoal grill can deliver the deep smoke flavor, bark, and tenderness you'd expect from a traditional Texas barbecue joint. Welcome back to Backyard Pit Lab. I'm Jason, and let's get right into it. Before I touch the ribs, I'm getting the snake set up. I'm arranging the charcoal 2 briquettes wide and 2 high around the outside edge of the kettle. Once it's lit, the fire will slowly work its way around the grill, basically feeding itself for hours. And that's what makes this method so interesting. You get a lot of the set it and forget it convenience people love about pellet grills, but you're still burning real charcoal and wood, which gives you a much deeper smoke flavor. With the snake built, let's get these ribs seasoned. Beef plate ribs aren't exactly something you can just walk into any grocery store and find. Neither my Costco nor Sam's Club carries them, so I actually had to track down a local butcher to get this wrap, and they're definitely not cheap. These USDA Prime plate ribs ran me about $14 a pound, so there's a little bit more pressure than usual to get this cooked right. Luckily, the prep is pretty simple. Today we're going to be seasoning it with W sauce. This is going to be the binder. 1 part Lawry's, 1 part beef bouillon from Walmart. That's this mixture that I will be mixing. And then coarse ground black pepper from Costco. That's the seasoning. Inspired by Goldie's barbecue. These ribs really don't need much trimming. I'm just running off the corners and leaving the fat cap alone. Fat is flavor. I'm starting with a light coating of W sauce followed by coarse black pepper. The pepper goes down first because I want those bigger granules making direct contact with the binder and the meat. That's going to help build that heavy bark I'm looking for. And while a traditional Texas brisket might just get salt and pepper, I like a little more flavor on my beef ribs. They're such a rich, beefy cut that I think they can handle some extra savory seasoning without covering up the meat. So once the pepper is down, I'll come back over the top with the rest of our seasoning of Lawry's and beef bouillon. Alright, it is 11:37 at night. I'm going to go ahead and start the snake method here. Keep the vents open, all the way open at the bottom and the top. I'm also placing a water pan directly underneath the ribs. It'll catch the drippings, help keep the kettle environment a little more stable, and make cleanup a whole lot easier. I have placed 1 probe here on this end and then the other probe here on this end to monitor both sides of the ribs. When the ribs go on, I want the thickest part of the rack closest to the burning end of the snake. That side can handle a little more heat, while the thinner end stays farther away so it doesn't cook so fast. To start the cook, I'm setting both the top and bottom vents about halfway open. I like to run a little more restricted at the beginning because I want that charcoal burning slowly while these ribs get their heaviest exposure to the wood smoke. Here's fully open, here's fully closed, halfway between this dot and this dot. It's been 4 hours and 22 minutes. The internal temperature of the beef ribs, the white temperature probe is on this side. It was 175 degrees. The ambient temperature about 271. And then the internal temperature on this side, my temp probe went out, but it's at 186 and ambient temperature is at 289. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the ribs. Not necessarily needed, but I do want it to finish both sides at the same time. Kind of crazy to think about that, like, yeah, it was 4 hours and 23 minutes of me not having to touch any of the temperature, the cook. It's essentially functioning as a pellet grill, which is amazing. How the Weber Kettle is able to keep its temperature throughout the whole night. I've been wanting to cook the beef ribs a little bit hotter. Goldie's usually cooks it at 300 degrees. Usually, again, that first hour, they close off the dampers and have the heavy smoke on the beef ribs. That's why I just started out the beef ribs at about halfway open and let the temperature rise up slowly. So we'll see how it looks. I haven't opened it since I put the beef ribs in there, so I'm curious to see where the snake is at. I'm curious to see what the bark looks like. The saying goes, if you're looking, you ain't cooking, so I took it seriously and I have not looked, so we'll see. Temperature probe of the yellow is right here. The snake started out here and then ended up here. So it hasn't gone very far at all. This is amazing, but I'm gonna go ahead and flip where this is temp probe 1 and move it closer to the heat source so I can kind of have that even cook. It actually looks pretty good. Again, the snake went from here to here I'm gonna put the vents opposite of where the flame is. It was halfway open. I'm gonna keep it a quarter of the way open on the top. Let's do a quarter of the way on the bottom as well. This should finish out the cook. The entire cook ended up taking around 7 hours. About halfway through, as you guys saw, I flipped the ribs so the side closest to the fire is now furthest away. Was that absolutely necessary? No, but it did accomplish what I wanted. By the end of the cook, the probe closest to the heat was reading around 202 degrees, while the opposite side was at 206. Only a 4-degree difference across the entire rack. If I had left the ribs in the same position for all 7 hours, that temperature spread probably would have been a little bit more dramatic. So I wouldn't say you have to flip your ribs when using the snake method, but on a long cook like this, it's an easy way to help everything finish a little bit more evenly. Let's check for probe tenderness. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's done. We don't want to cook for temperature. Remember, we want to cook for probe tenderness. So go ahead and close off the vents here, and we'll move the beef ribs. As you can see, I have a lot of leftover charcoal that I'm trying to save up for the next cook. For a long cook like this, I'd much rather build a longer snake than I think I'm gonna need and have some left over than run out of fuel with an hour or two still left to go and then having to add charcoal mid-cook. It also takes out the guesswork of having to perfectly calculate exactly how much charcoal you need for a specific type of cook. So give yourself some insurance and just prolong the snake for these long cooks. All right, it's time to pull off the ribs. The cook is done. Before I wrap it, I usually put some beef tallow on it and then go ahead and wrap it in foil to kind of keep some of that steam and moisture, loosen up some of this bark. This bark is super crispy. I don't know if you guys can hear it. The bend test is there as well, and then the jiggle test. After letting the ribs cool down a little bit, you want to go ahead and wrap it. I'm gonna use this beef tallow and pour it over the ribs to kind of soften that bark, adding a little flavor as well. I got this from the brisket, well, you should always render your trimmings. I'm gonna put this in a resting oven and go from there. I recalibrate my oven by clicking the broil in the 1 number. And now you have the option to make it -35. So whatever oven temperature you have, it's -35 from that. 175 is the lowest mine goes to. And it clocks out at around 155 degrees internally in the oven with my wireless thermometer. All right, moment of truth. This looks so good. Oopsies. Oh my gosh. That's like brisket on a stick. Look at that. Wow. I've been thinking about these dino ribs all day. I'm so excited to try it. Look how beautiful these things are. Oh my gosh, they're like falling apart. Ha ha ha. Look at that. Let me show you guys. Oh my gosh. Let's get one last look at these beautiful dino ribs before the taste test. I mean, just look at that bark. The fat has rendered down beautifully. The outside has that deep, dark crust we were looking for, and these things look incredibly juicy. Time for the taste test. This is the king of barbecue. This is the best bite in barbecue. I mean, hands down, this is better than brisket, this is better than pork fat, this is better than my chicken, this is better than anything I've tasted. And I get to have this at the house using a Weber Kettle. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next cook.